There we go. There we go. This is going to be a very fun episode, Mark.
Looking forward to it.
Mark, welcome to the Right Boundless podcast. I'm very glad you responded to my message. You are the owner of Gameday in North Hollywood. I've seen your ads. They're awesome. Peptides, TRT, all these things are very hot topics. First of all, I want to say congratulations on your business.
Thank you.
We briefly just talked about how difficult it is having a business in Los Angeles and breaking through the noise. But tell me a little bit of your background and what you do, and we'll dive into it.
Yeah, no, I'd love to. First of all, thank you for reaching out to me, and I apologize for my skepticism in the beginning. It's LA. You get a lot of people hitting you up for bullshit. And so that's kind of always come in like, is this guy legitimate, or does he just want some free testosterone, whatever, right? But yeah, so my background before I opened up the clinic, I did 10 years in the Navy on ship and intelligence.
Service.
Appreciate that.
What ship?
I did a ship called Steedham, USS Steedham out of Japan, a small little patrol craft out of Bahrain called USS Chinook. And then I transitioned into intelligence, did a lot of work in the Middle East, Africa, while I was stationed in England.
Very nice. I got a lot of buddies that are vets. My brother was on the USS Abraham Lincoln.
Oh, right on.
You know, I used to visit him a lot when he was here in Coronado.
Yeah, that's awesome, man.
Thank you for your services.
Yeah, of course. So, so that's kind of how I stumbled upon Gameday Men's Health. When I transitioned out of the Navy, I had a lot of kind of physical aspects going on and mental health issues going on too, that looking back on it, had I had an avenue of like peptides and testosterone, I might still be in the Navy today. So a bit of a bummer, but also, you know, it's a learning process and you can't look back. You can only go forward. So, enrolled at USC in the Master of Business for Veterans program. It's essentially a free program if you have a GI Bill that USC is kind enough to have just for veterans. Basically an MBA crash course for a year and a half or so. It's excellent course. Anybody out there that has a GI Bill waiting to use it, USC is the way to go. You know, a top 15 business school as well. So definitely a great program, great professors, learned a ton about business that I didn't know, of course, coming out of the Navy, and connected with one of my buddies there, Eric Harmon, who's now the owner of Gameday Men's Health in Tustin, Marine Corps vet. And we just bullshitting one day, sharing our ailments that we kind of have coming out of service. And he was like, hey, you need to go get your testosterone checked. So I went over to the Gameday Men's Health in Santa Monica, which was the only one in LA at the time. It was probably the first or second one that they franchised to. And sure enough, my testosterone was low. Didn't believe it. Like every other guy, I was like, no, let me go get a second opinion. Got a second opinion, still low. I'm talking like 117. So extremely low.
Let's talk about that real quick.
Yeah.
What's normal? What's low? What's high? Where should it be?
So it's kind of weird how they do it, because you got a little bit of a gamemanship going on between primary care providers and between labs and between insurance companies. And, you know, it's not like they're all like conspiring against you to keep you all with low testosterone, but it's almost like just like the apparatus itself of what it's morphed into. So the levels change every couple of years with every generation. So basically right now, if you go into a lab cord, they're going to show you a reference range of healthy testosterone. It's about 250, which is very low, to about 900, which 900 is pretty good. But this changes every few years. So 40 years ago.
What would be, and sorry, just to understand it, because look, I've had this conversation a million times, and
Right.
I don't know where it's supposed to be. I have no fucking idea. So 900 would be a man at a peak age of what, like 20, in his 20s or something?
So generally, yeah. Generally, yeah, that's what you would think. Like if you're 20, 21, you'd of course want to be up at that 900 level. However, the range is built on men between 18 and 80 years old. And there's no differentiation between the 18-year-old and the 80-year-old. And what's crazy is like having this clinic for a year and a half now is that most men that come up early Gen X to geriatrics have higher testosterone than a lot of the millennials that come in. And a lot of the Gen Zs that come in. There is a 50% decrease in overall average testosterone in men in America in the past 40 years.
Right.
So my dad, and I know this for a fact, has higher testosterone than me naturally now. And that's just due to a million factors. They can't pin it down, whether it's microplastics, whether it's, hormones in food, things like that. There's just a million things. More sedentary lifestyle. You know, we're not going out there building railroads with our hands and stuff anymore. We're on the computers, right? We're doing podcasting.
Right.
So there's a lot of things like that your body kind of turns it down naturally, because it's like, well, you don't need so much testosterone anymore. But so the reference range is always updates. And that's why we always say, like, level is maybe half the story, if that. The biggest thing that we look for are, what are your symptoms, right? And a lot of new guidance is coming out of like, doctors need to pay attention to the symptoms. So if you have unexplained fatigue, unexplained weight gain, say you are typically a big avid, gym goer, and you do resistance training, but you're not getting the results despite eating clean, sleeping well, you might have a testosterone deficiency. A lot of times, like you gain weight in the midsection as you get older as a man. This has been linked as to a testosterone deficiency. And then, of course, it gets basically impossible to get rid of as well. So we look at those symptoms. One of the biggest things our patients come in complaining about is not just the lack of being able to build muscle, but is brain fog and this unexplained fatigue and the crashes in the middle of the day. And it doesn't matter how many coffees or anything like that they have. So that's why we kind of do that. Like, the reference range is good to know. So we have a starting point of how much like you should probably be dosed if you're getting testosterone, but it's definitely not the end all be all. And I think a lot of people, and a lot of, we'll say, traditional older doctors still just kind of lean on that level because their job is to treat the average human, right? Their job is not to treat you, Roberto, or me, Mark. It's to treat average man, 40 years old.
Right.
That's it. And they also know insurance isn't going to cover it. And so insurance isn't going to pay for the lab testing either, or the extra testing that might need to be done to actually determine whether it's hypogonadism or anything else going on. So they just don't treat it. Maybe they'll throw you pills or whatever if you say that you're, depressed or tired, stuff like that. But it's a bit of a shame. It's a bit of a shame that we've kind of gotten to this point with, traditional medicine to where they don't even want to kind of address it, because for them, it's not worthwhile because they're not going to get it covered. They know you're not going to pay. They're going to spend an hour charting all of this stuff for no reason at all, which everything impacts the bottom line, right? Even at a doctor's office, especially independent private clinics.
I don't want to get into conspiracies, but isn't it weird that something that gives you more energy, makes you more active, makes you go outside more, makes you get more shit done, the better for clarification for your brain, they don't want to help you treat. But if it was anything else that needs medicine or operation or surgery,
good to go.
Yeah.
Oh, if your knee surgery is going to cost them or cost you $50,000, great, sign them up, right? But
or you're feeling depressed, because you've been home all day thinking about how sad you are. Instead of going outside, here's some pills. No problem.
So, and it's one of those, like, I don't know if it's a conspiracy. It's probably not. It's probably just an amalgamation of 50 years of leading us down this road to where we just kind of inevitably ended up here, right? I don't think there's anybody like sitting in some dark, back executive suite, like conspiring against us with United Healthcare guy when he was alive. And then a couple other healthcare executives and like pharmaceutical companies, like actively working against it. Right. And luckily there are laws in place to prevent things like that. However, like I said, I think it's just a matter of, it's just have kind of gone down in that direction. And you got to remember too, like doctors, that 70-year-old doctor that you might be seeing tomorrow, he's a person too, right? He's got bills to pay also. He's got family and things like that to sit there and worry about. He's not going to sit there and worry about like, oh, this guy has low testosterone. Let me do everything I can for him, right?
But, just to add to that, I don't want to talk shit, but I'm definitely going to talk shit because that's what I do. That doctor's also out of shape. He's, he's not healthy. He's not hitting the gym. He's not eating, the best. He looks like a slob,
right.
That's another big problem.
Yeah.
I think, they say most doctors have zero education in nutrition.
Oh, yeah.
And physical activities.
Well, and almost no education in hormones either, right? Unless you go see that endocrinologist who's like, they are a hormone specialist. That is their job. Most primary care doctors don't have that training. So our clinicians, we put through the actual, schooling to get them learned up on hormone replacement therapy for men and for women. So it's not just that we're not just plucking out a PA or a family nurse practitioner and plopping them in the seat. Like if they don't know what they're doing, like we're going to train them and teach them. And we have a great network of medical officers as well, and actual MDs and DOs throughout the country to sit there and be there and answer any questions they might have that pop up, because like they are mid-level practitioner, right? But like maybe their expertise isn't quite there yet. But that's why we have that whole like back line of doctors ready to step in and help them out. Because to your point, like they don't know, like traditional guys don't know. And you also got to remember too, like as you get older, you just care less to find out new or keep up with new studies.
Well, that's part of society, you
right.
know. As you get older, it's like, oh, I don't care. I'm an old man. You know, getting older. You know, who cares?
Yeah, you're just older now. That's who you are. Yeah,
but I mean, dude, I just got together with some high school buddies like 2 years ago, and I'm like, holy shit, man, they look.
Some of them are rough.
It's rough,
yep.
man.
Yep.
It's rough, and I think we're so lucky to be in an age where, you know, back in our days, a 40, 50-year-old man looked like almost a grandpa.
Right.
And now 40-year-olds, 50-year-olds look amazing. I got a couple friends that are 60 or right now, what's his name? Frank Grillo. You know,
He's been all over.
Came out
all over recently. Yeah.
I reached out to him recently. He was supposed to do the podcast. He lives down the street, but you know, then he came out with that, and he's all over the place taking, you know, the TRT.
Yeah, TRT
which is
and peptides, and and I appreciate him too, talking about like, I did NFR as well, like everybody in Hollywood does if you're prepping for movie roles. I don't recommend it, right? Which is great that he throws that out there, as opposed to shying away from it, pretending like everything he does is natural.
Right. But more importantly, I think the message is, this is a tool. But if you're not at the gym, if you're not working out, if you're not eating right, that's just one of let's say it represents 20% of his figure. You know, there's still that 80% that you got to work on.
Right.
Would you say it's a 20?
Absolutely, ratio? Absolutely. We have a lot of guys who come in and they want to start testosterone and they need to start testosterone, but then they don't go to the gym, right? And then they're asking like, how come I'm not gaining weight, right? Or how come I'm not losing fat? Like, well, what's your exercise? Like, oh, nothing, right? They think it's like a magic injection or a magic pill, and like it's just like everything else. It's not, right? Doesn't matter if you take the most aggressive steroid possible. If you're not in the gym, you're not going to grow muscle. If you're not eating clean, you're not going to grow muscle as well as you could be. So it's just a tool, right, in the arsenal. It's ultimately up to you and your personality, your drive of what are you going to do with it. And I think I've run into that a lot, and I've been really surprised by it. And maybe it's an LA thing because I'm not from LA. I don't know. You have a lot of guys who they just want to come in. They want to be told that they're deficient. They want to be told that there's a plan, but they don't want to do anything about it. They just want the excuse. Right. I am convinced that a lot of these guys just want to go home and tell their wife, like, this is just who I am, sorry. And do nothing to actually change their health,
their drive.
Yeah. And it's a shame, especially when like these guys have kids and stuff.
Now, obviously you're based here in LA, and obviously you're comparing that, but do you have anything that you compare it to results in different cities of how people are taking it or their understanding on it?
A little bit, yeah. But it's mostly in the cities that are very health conscious already. While LA is one of them, like we're nowhere near like Salt Lake City, right? Or Colorado as a whole, as far as like the healthiest people who want to do biohacking and things like that. So like, we're a city of, 20 million people. Like, it's a huge population to try to kind of pin down. But I think a lot of it is anecdotal too, right? Not being from LA, and it might be a little bit of a culture shock too, when I came back from the Navy, because I spent most of my time overseas, came back to the United States 10 years later. It's like, what happened? Like, what happened here? Why is everybody a jerk? And I was like, well, maybe it's West Coast, but I'm like, no, because when I go back to Atlanta to visit family, I was like, I think it's just everybody's. Our culture is just kind of eroding a little bit as far as like doing what's best for you, but also doing what's best for your fellow man and helping each other out, right? So I can't really speak to whether it's an actual true thing, other than in those cities that are already extremely health conscious.
Yeah. Can you give me some, because I also want to talk about the peptides.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about all of it, but I want to, with your expertise, can you talk about some of the case studies of what people that come to you, what they noticed, what they saw, just so other people know what to look for, what are red flags, plus other red flags, and then, some success stories versus, people that did something and didn't do something, and I know a few of those stories that I'll share too.
Sure.
You're the expert.
For sure. Yeah. Almost every guy that comes in that is like, I'm getting started right now. I am tired of feeling like garbage, right? Like I'm tired of looking like garbage. They come back a month later or 6 weeks later for their first lab, and you see it on their face immediately. It looks younger, right? It looks fresher and healthier. And then even when you dig into like, did you change anything with your diet? And they're like, no, I've already eaten kind of pretty clean already. And I was already going to the gym. Like, I just feel better. Everything. It's a big thing of like, when people are like, oh, you have to feel good inside to feel good on the outside. Like it's kind of the opposite sometimes, especially for men, of a certain age, right? No, like you need to look in the mirror and realize like I'm feeling good about myself. Like my face is looking better, my skin's looking healthier. And then that starts impacting your confidence. I think that's the biggest thing that we see in all of our patients when they come in like 6 weeks later and then like continuously for the next year, is that confidence booster.
Right.
And it's great. And yeah, we have like plenty of guys that come in, like they're getting fitter, they're getting leaner. But for me, like the biggest like win is like seeing the man kind of get his confidence back, get his swagger back a little bit. Right. And
his mojo.
Yeah, that's it. And he's just like, that's going to make you want to work out more, right? That's going to make you want to dress better. That's going to make you want to do all these different things and up your life, is having that confidence. That's the biggest thing that's been great. And that's consistent with every patient, is that their confidence is skyrocketed through the roof.
Yeah. And you know, how do I word this? In the last 2 years, I've been in the greatest shape of my life. It's the first time I've been under 200 pounds since high school. And, you know, I haven't used anything.
Right.
And, you know, and now I'm like to the next level. Maybe that's another reason I want to talk to you. But I'm in the best shape. And it's funny because now it's like randomly I got called in for 3 commercials. I've never done any acting in my life.
Yep.
And now all of a sudden, you know, 3 commercials.
Yep.
I was doing an event and we were covering some jeans and people were like, man, those jeans look incredible. And I'm like, oh, this is weird. And then all of a sudden I'm like, this looking good and feeling good thing kind of opens a lot of doors, even as a male. And I've never would think that, you know, like I'm a man's man and, you know, I don't care. And I'm like, oh shit, this is kind of very important.
Yeah. Yeah,
you know?
no, for sure. And like, I mean, just speaking about myself, in the past year, I've lost 25 pounds of fat.
Nice,
I've gained 15 pounds of muscle. So it's like they're
Hold on. Yeah. That's awesome.
But like, it's one of those like body recomposition, like, generally isn't real, right? You can't lose fat and gain muscle at the same time.
Right.
However, if you are on testosterone, if you are taking certain peptides, you can. But again, you still have to put in the work, right? So I'm still in the gym, you know, minimum 3 times a week, lifting weights, right? I'm still doing cardio minimum 1 time a week. I'm still eating fairly clean Monday through, we'll say Thursday, and then Friday, Saturday, Sunday are generally pretty junky. But like my wife and I have figured it out well. Like, no, we eat clean or eat minimal even Monday through Thursday and just load up on garbage on Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Works for us. Doesn't work for everybody. Totally fine. But
I mean, why wouldn't you go to the gym? I mean, I told you earlier, I feel that, you know, if somebody's depressed, go for a run.
Yeah.
Go to the gym. Go work out. Challenge yourself. And I'm sure most of it will fade away.
Yeah.
But back to the question, because again, I'm very curious. So we talked a little bit of the success rate of how it changes people's skin, it changes people's attitude, it changes the way they dress, it changes their lifestyle, you know, which is all great. But before we get to that, because we've heard that little, what are signs? Like, what are people like? Hey, I'm super sad. That's why they came to you, or hey, I've been, you know, I've already, which is kind of nice because I think once they get to you, like you said, they've already kind of changed their diet.
Right.
They've already tried to be active, and now they're not seeing results.
Right.
But what are more case studies? Those are pretty known ones. What are some that are not known that, you know, you could be like, hey, Robert, you know, I had a guy one time and it was this, you know, or he was playing with his kid and he, you know, got too exhausted.
Yeah, no, that's actually a great example. That was one of our first patients. Was he was trying to play pickup basketball with his kids and was getting smoked. And he, you know, one of those guys that goes to the YMCA every weekend and plays pickup ball. And that was one of his first indicators of, I need to get this checked out, right? Same thing. He eats clean. He exercises. He obviously does cardio multiple times a week. But he just wasn't keeping up anymore like he was 5 years ago even. And some guys have a more abrupt drop off. It's like from year to year, they're like, something changed dramatically over the past year. They don't know what it is. Right. The best patients are the ones that always come in. They've already tried the 3 tried and true methods to raise your testosterone naturally, and that's getting adequate sleep, exercise, and diet. If you've done that and you have those kind of unexplained fatigue, right? That's a big one too. Guys come in, lack of confidence, unexplained fatigue. If you don't have confidence, you're not going to want to go to the gym, right? You just want to sit at home and just eat bonbons, right? Screw it. What's the point? I was the same way before I started to. Like, what's the point of exercising anymore if I'm not getting any results anymore? And I'm not getting the cool compliments anymore of looking good in these jeans, right? I think for case study wise, like that's most of it. That's most of it is like the lack of confidence, of the drive to do something if you're already doing the 3 main things, sleep, diet, exercise, that you can.
Right.
Guys come in all the time for that. And then usually the younger guys who are like, I'm trying to get back in the gym and get big. But I'm having this lack of motivation. I don't care, or I'm not getting results. So I'm stopped going. Like, it always kind of comes back to that lack of confidence, lack of motivation. So that's like the beautiful thing about testosterone. It's not just physical. And I would say like most of it is mental, right? Everything starts in your head, right? How you're going to feel and your motivation to do something always starts mentally. You don't wake up one morning and go, right, 4 a.m., I'm going to go to the gym.
Yeah.
Nobody does that.
Nobody.
I don't care. Like if you do it, you already did it at some point in your life. You can plan,
but you're not.
4 a.m. rolls around, you look at the clock, go, I'm just going to go back to sleep, right?
Yeah.
Like, and so that's the biggest thing, like getting that motivation back, getting that confidence back.
Yeah. Which is funny that you say it's all in the mind. Your mind is like, I think I've made this comment before, but your mind's a dick.
Yeah.
Yeah, because your mind will be like, hey, dude, it's 4 a.m., dude, just go back to bed. It's warmer. And it'll convince you to stay in bed. But then at the end of that day, your mind's going to be like, you little bitch, why didn't you work out? You're so lazy.
Well, like your brain is lazy. Your brain wants to be lazy. It uses the least amount of energy when there's no change, right? And this is science proven for decades now that they've known this. You don't want to make an effort on your own naturally, right? You have to be telling yourself to do it. Your brain's not going to do it for you because your entire body's reason of existence is survival, right? And now procreation, eating, all that goes into survival, but your entire body's existence is built around survival. And that means using, what am I trying to say? That means using the least amount of energy as possible so you can survive the amount of longest. Because when we were cavemen, like you might go 2 weeks between eating, whatever, right? Or you might need the energy to run away, whatever it happens to be. A lot of it's this still primal instinct that's in our bodies. And so like, yeah, you don't want to make a change on your own. Like you have to force yourself, but that's nearly impossible if you don't have the confidence in yourself to do it, or you don't have the motivation to want to do it, right?
You have, or a boss telling you what to do, or with a boss, expectations of doing whatever.
I'm working 70 hours a week right now, making $20 an hour for some other guy to buy his yacht, right? Like that kind of sucks out your soul a little bit. And like I did that grind, right? Like when I got out of the Navy, I worked for Airbnb and then I worked for Meta. And at first I was like, this is going to be great. I'm going to be set up. Like I get paid really well. But then very quickly I was like, what am I fucking doing?
Yeah, it's bullshit.
Yeah, I'm working hard for
someone else,
these other people who are making tons of money off of my work, right? And I'm getting just a little crumb here. It's like you have to go out and do it on your own. But like, and it wasn't until
doing it necessarily is fine. You got to build something. But like when you get trapped in that forever.
Exactly. And like I'm saying, there's definitely value in it, right? And not telling everybody like throw off your corporate chains tomorrow and like quit your job, right? Like and throw your family into poverty. Like no, but you take the lessons you get from it and they'll go, great, now what can I do with it and go strike out on my own. In whatever avenue you want to do that, even if that is like you just want to go and do your own software engineer coding for freelance, great, do it. You got that experience from Meta in that instance, go do it. But like, again, it all comes back down to like, if you don't have motivation or confidence in yourself because you might have a testosterone deficiency and your hormones being low or too high really fuck you up.
Right.
So if you get those dialed in and optimized, like you're going to feel like you did when you were 20 years old and you're like, I can take on the world. Right. You can't. Just a reminder, like it doesn't make your knees come back. Like it's so like, don't go in there and try to play ball with the D1 guy. He's going to shred you, but like, and your knees will hurt tomorrow, right? It'll help with recovery, but like your bones are still 40-year-old bones. So it's always important to remember that, but you at least go in with that confidence. Like, yeah, I can keep up a little bit. You'll just feel a little bit more tomorrow than you did when you were 20.
Yeah. So message to everybody right now, I would say, go see someone like you and get tested. Minimum, get tested.
Get tested.
If you want to do treatment, if you don't want to do treatment, get tested because at least you'll know what's up.
That's exactly it. We never push it, right? You come in, you get tested, you have your consultation, and our clinician lays it out for you on what we can do for you, or if we can even need to do anything for you. Some guys come in and like, hey, you're great. You don't have symptoms. You're feeling good. Like, what are you doing?
Being a little bitch.
Right? Yeah. Right. Or like, they come in and like maybe their testosterone is actually, a healthy range, but they have all the symptoms. And then our clinician digs in and is like, oh, well, they're not sleeping well. Their diet's garbage. And they don't work out and they never have. And it's like, well, that's why, man. Like, go take care of that stuff. You don't need external testosterone. You need to clean yourself up.
Which is my question would be, let's say somebody goes in and what are some natural ways of bettering your testosterone?
Yeah.
And I think you mentioned food, sleep.
That's it.
Working
Sleep,
out.
diet, exercise. That's it. Yeah.
That's simple, huh?
It's that simple. Eat clean. And you don't have to always eat clean. Like I just mentioned, like we eat pizza every Friday night and we'll go out for brunch and stuff on a Saturday or Sunday, right? You don't have to always eat clean. That 80-20 rule, 80% clean, 20% dirty is generally a good rule to live by.
I stopped kind of encouraging people with the cheat day or cheat meal, and the only reason I did that is because I started getting the mentality is if you're an alcoholic or you're a druggie,
right.
you don't get a cheat day. Like if you're gonna quit, you quit.
Exactly.
And you're right. Everyone, my routine is so weird. It's so weird. Like for example, I work out. I do the same workouts every single day.
Right.
And people think I'm nuts. But I do bench, arms, abs, back, and 30-minute Stairmaster every day. And people are like, oh, you gotta let the body rest. You gotta do this, you gotta do that. I'm like, dude, slaves didn't get rest days.
Right.
Like if I'm trying to be a bodybuilder and I'm trying to make a certain thing humongous, sure. I get that. Yeah. But I'm trying to get functional strength. My whole thing was 5 years ago, my son was 1, and I was like, dude, I got to be able to keep up with this kid because this kid's going to kick my ass. Yep. But where was I going with this? Anyways, so then I got some buddies of mine doing some TRT. Yeah. Now, again, I know nothing about TRT. The 2 biggest success stories that I've heard so far is some guys that are getting some patches and they disintegrate. It's like a 3-month supply. Yeah. And one guy, he's out in Bakersfield, typical yeehaw, doesn't give a shit about nothing, beer drinker, smokes cigarettes, working on his bike all the time. He got on it. He's probably 45 years old. This guy looks like The Rock right now. Right. Like all of a sudden, stop the drinking, stop the smoking. Right. Looks humongous. I'm like, holy shit. I got another buddy of mine from one of our social clubs, and he's 63. And he had the big pot belly, didn't care about nothing except his age. He lost like 60, 70 pounds in a few months, and now he's running and doing this, and he's doing that compared to the injection. Right. Is there a difference? What are the difference? And can you explain to people what I'm talking about?
Yeah. So no, there is really no difference. It really just comes down to your lifestyle and what's easier for you. So the most traditional route that most men get, I'd say like 95% of men is just an injection. Whether that's once a week, twice a week, 3 times a week. There's some guys out there now doing like microdosing daily. It all kind of depends on what the testosterone type is. If it's cypionate, it has a half-life in your body of about 6 days. So science is kind of a little loose on whether you really need to like microdose it every day if it's got a half-life of almost a week already. But that's one process, and you can do it intramuscularly. So your big kind of 1-inch needles, right? And you inject it in your thigh, your butt, whatever. Or subcutaneously, and that's like kind of your smaller little like insulin syringe needles that you'll just do into your belly fat. That's one. The other one is the pellets, which is what you're referring to. So yes. So that's a tiny little incision made typically in your backside on your upper buttocks. And then little pellets that are basically Tic Tacs are kind of plopped in there by the provider. And then you get some steri strips put on you, and that heals up in about a week, and you're good to go.
And they dissolve.
They dissolve over 3 to 5 months. Yeah. So they've had these for decades for women for birth control, right? So now it's the same exact science behind it. It's just a slow dissolving testosterone pellet that gets you optimized without any sort of peak and trough that you might have with the injections. Right. And you just kind of ride the high for the 3 to 5 months. However, they're not best for everybody. If you don't have a lot of body fat, you do risk what's called like an extrusion. Basically, it pops out, or your body rejects it essentially and shoots it out your backside. Kind of painful, not life-ending if it does happen. But that's why I don't generally recommend them for guys who are extremely active or don't have a lot of body fat on them, especially on their backside.
Right.
Most of the time, the injection works also because like the injection, like you just 1 minute, boom, inject yourself once or twice a week, move on with your life. If you're extremely active, or if you're not extremely active, and you have maybe have a more sedentary lifestyle, or like your job requires a lot of sitting and things like that, pellets are a good option for you. But to your point of like you have these guys who are out of shape, smoking, everything like that, not exercising. As soon as but a few months after starting testosterone, that confidence came back, that motivation came back, right? It's a process. It's not a night and day switch, right? Same thing with dieting, right? A lot of people think like, oh, I'll start dieting tomorrow and I'll just shed all my weight. It's like, no, it's a process. Typically if you immediately switch over to a brand new workout plan or whatever, you will almost always fail, right? That's why it's like one step at a time, like implement 10%, 10%, 10%.
Right.
And that's what your buddies did, right? Like maybe one day, the guy who was smoking and drinking all the time, like picked up a glass of water instead of the beer at 7 p.m., right? And then that glass of water becomes 2 glasses of water, right?
He's a welder, you know? He's a welder, and he's a hardworking guy.
Sure.
I guess once he got onto TRT, he had more energy, and all of a sudden it was like, dude, I feel great.
Yeah, maybe he went down from like half a pack a day to 5 cigarettes a day one day, you know, and it was just a natural thing that he wasn't planning. It just was happening. He was taking less breaks because he didn't need to take as many breaks anymore. So he just was smoking less. So eventually he starts, stop smoking altogether. Things like that. It's all gradual steps that people take. And that testosterone a lot of times is that first step of kind of getting your life back.
Now, what do you lose sleep? Like, do you get more energy? Because I know you get more energy, but do you sleep less? Do you sleep more? How does it affect your day to day? We talk about the energy and wanting to do more. Yeah. And the more you do, the better. But how does this affect your resting and your recovery?
It generally improves your sleep. A lot of guys come in also with sleep issues as well, and this can help with that because it's just regulating your hormones. So generally your sleep is improved. And obviously if you are putting that testosterone to work, you are working out harder, things like that. Your body needs longer time to recover, which of course will aid in sleep as well. But the biggest thing you can do is go to bed at a scheduled time, right? And find that if you're, you need 7 hours of good sleep, do it. If you need 8 hours of good sleep, 9 hours, do it. That's the biggest thing. And again, it kind of goes back to like setting those patterns, but also understanding it's a process and not beating yourself up if you don't go to bed until 2 a.m. one night, right? Like just move on. That day's behind you. Do it at 11 p.m. the next night, right? That's the biggest thing it just gives you that motivation to kind of turn it around again. But yeah, as far as energy, like I went from 4 cups of coffee a day to 1, like the one I have in the morning, and that's about it. Maybe I'll have like a Red Bull or something right before the gym, depending on what peptide I'm taking that day. But like it's definitely not a thing I feel like I need anymore. But your energy will improve and your sleep will generally improve.
That's awesome.
Yep.
That's awesome. Peptides. Mm-hmm. What I have zero information and knowledge on peptides.
Yeah, peptides they're pretty incredible. And it's one of those too, they've been around for decades in the United States, and Russia has actually been a big player in peptides for decades as well, which if you were around during the Cold War and the Olympics, probably doesn't surprise anybody that Russians were doping. When I say doping, peptides are where you kind of get more into that performance enhancing drug aspect. For testosterone, there's a big misconception that it is steroids, right? That it is not natty or whatever. Okay, well, you took creatine today. That's not natty. Right. Oh, you put on glasses today. That's not natty. Right? Like your shitty eyesight is your natty eyesight. So like if you need testosterone because you're deficient, then you need it. It's eyeglasses for your body, right? Or for your hormones. So, but with peptides, they are short chain amino acids that, the same building blocks of all protein in your body, right? Or of protein protein in your body. And these amino acids can trigger your body to produce certain things, right? So whether you need peptide or want peptides for more mental cognition, for sleep, for muscle, for recovery, anti-inflammation, there's a whole gut health. There's an entire regimen you can do now of 5 different peptides that are just insanely healthy to take if you're taking them at correct dosing, and if you are taking the breaks when you cycle off of them as you're supposed to. Like they're right now hasn't been anything linked to overdosing or anything like that, unless you're actually taking them incorrectly, which usually that falls onto the owner. Right now, there are some side effects and things like that do pop up every once in a while, but nothing different than people who have side effects from any other kind of medication, right? So some peptides can cause, exactly. Some peptides can cause nausea. Sometimes with some of the HGH peptides, there's like a flushing feeling that occurs for about 10 or 15 minutes and then goes away. Little things like that are 1 in a million person might experience stuff, right? And then okay, well, we need to figure out a different thing. That's all completely normal. But as far as deaths and things like that from peptides, no. Even the HGH peptides, you've heard of people.
I was going to ask about HGH.
Yeah. So people get injured, right? Or shorten their lifespan with steroids or with synthetic HGH injections and use, right? Because it also destroys your natural HGH production. The beautiful thing about HGH peptides, whether it's sermorelin or CJC 1295, ipamorelin, IGF-1 LR3 is my favorite one. The good thing about these is that it's taking your natural HGH production and just cranking that up. So you're not exhausting or you're not replacing it, right? You're actually just aiding it to make more. And then that HGH turns into your IGF, which is then put to work for muscle building, for mostly, and fat loss.
Wow. There's a lot there.
Yeah.
Where, I don't know if you have any information on this, but where does stem cells and plasma and all that stuff come in?
Yeah, so that's a little bit separate from peptide therapies, right? That's like platelet-rich plasma injections and things like that, which we do in the clinic.
Would peptides? Well, go ahead.
No, sorry. Yeah. So yeah, completely separate topics, basically. So you have peptides on one end, and you have PRP, platelet-rich plasma, on the other, with stem cells as well, or exosomes also. So like, for instance, at the clinic, we do a lot of what's called a P shot. Basically, it's this PRP with exosomes added, and it's your own plasma spun out and then injected back into the man's penis to aid with erectile dysfunction.
Into the penis?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Tiny little needles. You're completely numbed. And for the record, like, I've done every single thing we offer in the clinic, and it's one of those, like, I will never offer something that I believe does not have, beneficial use.
Yeah.
And so, like, doing it myself, like, oh, that was actually pretty fine, right? It's got to get your head around it, of course. But once you do it, you're like, this is good. This is
fine. So I'm dumb, and I'm just saying words right now. But like, explain that whole process and what it's for, and what it's preventing or what it's doing.
Right.
So let's go with the issue and then how we fix it in the process.
So I'll just speak about like PRP injections in general, right? So basically, when you have your plasma re-injected into a damaged tissue, whether it's your penis, whether it's your shoulder, rotator cuff,
your back,
this triggers your body into a like healing response. And so it floods that area with healing repairing cells, with exosomes, with stem cells to fix the damage. And that's basically all it's doing. It's taking your own natural healing process and supercharging it and saying, go to this specific spot in that shoulder, fix it. When I had PRP done on my shoulder in my clinic last year, I just had plasma left over from, we did like a hair thing. Within 2 weeks, I've had zero shoulder pain in the shoulder that I've had issues with for 5 years.
Wow.
It's incredible. And so and stem cells is like taking that to a whole nother level. Now, for the most part, stem cell injection stuff is illegal in the United States, except very few areas, but you can go outside of the country, of course, and get it done. I'm not saying there's probably places you can find in the country and get it done as well. And that just like, it takes it to a whole nother level. Cause again, now it's drawing your body's natural stem cells, which are blank slates, and goes, hey, go here, become new cells in the shoulder, fix it.
Right.
Basically is kind of how it works.
Yeah. Yeah, there's so many things.
Yeah.
Do you think this is, would you consider this like the plastic surgery, but for men? Like all these things that we have now that we can take care of our bodies?
Yeah, I don't think it's just
not plastic
men.
surgery.
Yeah,
no, it's for everybody.
Yeah,
but women already do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think there's a new men's health movement where it's like, and that's part of the reason why I opened up. I opened up my location in North Hollywood was because I wanted to be part of the movement. I was now a patient, and I wanted to put my new business degree to good use. I wanted to be an entrepreneur. It's like, let's go get it. I believe in this mission completely, and being able to help men, like, hey, this is an area you can come in. It's a man cave setting. You can watch ball. You can have a snack while we're just bullshitting about our health, right? And because that's, again, like what me and my buddy Eric did when I first met him, was just bullshit about our health. And like, from a veteran to veteran, that wall is kind of already broken down of like, I'm just going to dump out my heart to you. Cause like, I know you've seen shit, I've seen shit. And like, so like, we were already kind of trauma bonded despite never meeting each other.
Right.
And it's like bringing in men into the clinic and then sharing that experience. Like, dude, just like lay it out there. What's going on?
Yeah.
Like, this is a completely cool space to share those things. And we got so far away from being able to share, about health issues that affect tens of millions of men, whether it's erectile dysfunction, low testosterone, weight gain, whatever. And the excuse always came, especially like what we were talking about at the beginning, the excuse became, oh, you're just older now. That's just how you are. And it's like, well, it's 2025. That's no longer what we have to do. And like, women have been conditioned for generations to always try to look younger, better, smarter, hotter, everything like that. Right. While men have been deal with makeup. Yeah, men have been just deal with it. That's who you're going to be. And it's like, but if you want to be a good father, right? Because 50 years ago, dads, I would say, like, maybe as a whole, and maybe I'm just pulling shit on my ass now, did not prioritize fatherhood, right?
Right.
Well, you do. I'm gonna go and be active with my kids and instill good values in my boys, right? Because I want to make sure they go off and they're strong men, and mentally and physically, right? Because the world sucks.
Yeah.
The world's gonna punch them in the face, and you want to make sure they respond accordingly, right? And they punch it back and they get up off the mat. So us as a generation are really kind of breaking that wall down of like, hey man, like, come on in, share the ailments. It's 2025. We have the medicine, we have the technology.
Use it
To fix it. Yeah.
Right.
Like, and it's,
you're not going to use an iPhone to make a phone call,
right?
Or to go online.
No,
It's technology that we have access
exactly.
to. Why
like,
limit
do
ourselves?
it. Yeah. Like and you know, and it's so funny when guys come in, like they see like, oh, $200 a month, and it's like, first of all, we're not making like a giant profit off of it, right? Because like we have clinicians to pay, doctors to pay, building leases to manage, right? Like, so it's like, we're not making hand over fist money, right?
Right.
But like guys will see the $200 a month, and I'm like, yeah, but then you're going to turn around this weekend and you're going to go drop $300 on a night out.
Right.
With the boys, with your girlfriend, with your wife,
300
whatever.
bucks.
Right. I know. Right. That's
That's conservative.
that's
right
McDonald's standards in LA. Right. But like
straight out.
Exactly it. Right. They're not prioritizing what's actually important. And they're not thinking about the long-term game here, where it's like, again, if you're dropping the $200 a month or whatever it happens to be on your testosterone, and you're starting to feel good, you're getting more motivation, well, maybe you're going to put in that little bit extra work at your job, or getting your own job off the company, or whatever it happens to be. So now you're making that $200 a month extra already. Or maybe you're going to clean yourself a little bit. So like when you do go out and you're just out with the boys, maybe you actually don't strike out this weekend like you do every other weekend, right? Because now you look good. Now you feel good. And it's just...
Now you're out there more.
Yeah, and a lot of it's just like, you know, we're also in a day and age where you want instant gratification, right?
Right.
If you're telling me that when I order something from Amazon, it's not going to be here tomorrow,
like what the hell? Why would I order
what is this?
Yeah.
Like when I was a kid, I would wait 8 weeks for like a toy from the cereal box, you know, when you like to take the little UPC things and mail them in.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, you forget about it. You're going to nice little surprise 8 weeks later when your shitty little action figure comes in.
Yeah. It's true.
Yeah, but I think, again, like, it's exactly what it is. Like, and that's when we have a lot of patients too who come in a month later and like, I'm not really feeling it, I'm going to come off. It's like, well, we told you it's a process. It's going to take several months, right? A lot of times you'll feel benefits like within the first few weeks, especially if you're an avid gym goer, like I am, again, like within those first few weeks, like I was like, man, I'm sweating bullets at the gym. I'm able to push harder, and it felt good. But it wasn't until the few months later when like the mental clarity and everything started loosening up, and like I started noticing the changes in my body, right? I started noticing my libido come back. Again, like it goes back to a lot of guys just want that instant gratification, and if they're not going to get it, they're going to stop. Or they just want the excuse for why they feel shitty and don't want to do anything about it.
They want to justify it.
Yeah.
Well, what in a perfect world, and we're just going to talk about veterans, because I'm talking about my brother too, because my brother had to do it. He's out in Florida, and you know, he got it, paid for it. You know, it was a little pricey for him. You know, especially when he's retired, and the insurance wouldn't cover it. The veterans wouldn't cover it. You know, what kind of solution can they come up with? You know, I was like, make more money. You know, but like, you know, there's a lot of veterans that it would benefit. It would definitely benefit. Like right off the top of my head, I already got like 5 of them that are local here, you know, in the LA or Camarillo area. And I'm like, dude, they would benefit off something like this. But getting that past that hurdle,
right?
You know,
right. And sometimes, you know, it is a legitimate financial, you know, decision that needs to be made. And
the thing is, it's not that $200 is a lot. It's just there's so many more $200 things that people have to pay that sometimes you're like, dude, this is only $50. And it's like, it's not about that $50. It's about the other 10 grand I had to come up with this month, or the 5 grand or the school or the dog. Like it's insane in LA. Like it's gnarly.
I mean, our dog last month, 10 grand.
Yeah, I'm sure.
In healthcare costs, right? So in vet costs. So yeah, things come up, right? And at that point, like, and this is the benefit of being like an independent owner, I could work with you on that, right? We've had multiple guys like, hey, you know what? Like, just got laid off. need to pause my membership or push payment a month, or
right. But that's if they
like
know
that,
you.
right?
But there has to be a solution for like the overall American male. Especially right now. Especially November. November's Movember, right? This is men's mental health.
Yeah.
Every May we raise funds with the motorcycle with the DGR, and we're all for that men's mental health. But there's got to be like a bigger picture. And this is another reason I wanted you to be on the podcast, is because I want people to come to your place and say, hey, help me out, don't help me out, guide me, tell me what I need. We want to look for solutions.
Yeah.
But like when I see that, and I know these guys that are having difficult times, and most of them are veterans, it's like, dude, there has to be a better solution, or there has to be something.
Yeah. Unfortunately, with the VA, they operate just like a traditional kind of insurance, but obviously for veterans. To where you still kind of have to go through the hoops. And then especially with the VA too, if you manage to get through the hoops, and like somebody who tried to do it myself, like they're basically impossible unless you have testicular cancer. They still only also don't want to bring you up to, it's 500, I think is what the instruction says. And like they have to go by the instruction, doesn't matter what the actual doctor believes, right? So they can only go to 500. We've had a couple people come from, because their VA provider told them directly, go to Gameday, because I like legally cannot treat you here with what you currently have, but you definitely have the symptoms, but unfortunately, like I'm boxed in. So it is a shame that the VA won't handle it, or most insurance companies won't handle it for the general civilian guy. There are programs out there. We have one at our clinic, and it's platelet donation. We partner with a company here in Toluca Lake that does that they sell platelets to hospitals and research companies. So like they need platelets for like new blood machines and all these things like that. So all this stuff goes into R&D, which of course in the long term saves lives and improves lives. But they will pay $150 for every platelet donation that you can then use as a Gameday credit.
What's the name of that nonprofit?
Yeah, it's called Fountain.
Fountain.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So you
shout
can
out
find
to Fountain.
Yeah. It's called Fountain. If you just Google like Fountain platelet donation Toluca Lake, they'll be the first hit on Google. Cool. And they'll give you $150 every time you donate, right? And it'll be $150 in credit. So it's not just going to be, here's cash, but it'll be $150 in credit to use at our Gameday location in North Hollywood only. And you can donate platelets every 2 weeks. And so that's $300 a month. That's more than enough to pay for testosterone therapy. And honestly, you get to sit down for an hour and you make $100 an hour. Nice. Doing nothing, eating a snack, watching a movie. So we do have that program that we have with them. Yeah. Other things you can do like financing and stuff like that. But like, I know a lot of people don't want to, even if it's 0% financing, and that's completely understandable. So I think unfortunately there is a financial barrier sometimes. And that's just the reality of American healthcare, right?
Yeah.
Like whether it's private, whether it's insurance or whatever it is, there's going to be a financial penalty with it.
Right. But if we talk about value, it's
right.
probably going to be one of the best things a man can do.
Absolutely.
Because, I think when people start thinking about TRT or they start thinking about these peptides, it's like health and energy,
Right. Right.
but it's like that's so linked into your mental health that
right.
it's just going to free up so much space, and you're going to get more shit done, and you're going to feel more satisfied with yourself as a man.
Yeah. I mean,
that would be my sales pitch of like, hey, we help with mental health.
I mean, like
giving you, youth back.
Think about like, a lot of guys who are like, or like my patient, one of our first patients I mentioned earlier, who like was having those pickup basketball games at the gym and with his boys and was just getting smoked. And 3 months later, he's like, I'm keeping up with them again. I feel great. And that's when it comes down to like, it takes a minute for you to see the value, I think, right? Because like, it's that instant gratification again. You're not getting that instant fix within that first month. And so like, maybe this is it worthwhile? If you just hang on for, I always say like, try it for 3 months and then let us know how you're feeling. Right. And we offer discounts, stuff like that too, if you do try it for the 3 months, because that's the way to go. Try it for 3 months. And I guarantee you're going to be like, all right, I'm all in. Right. And if not, then like no harm, no foul. Like that's easy. Like maybe it wasn't for you. Maybe you only wanted to do a cycle and come off of it too. Right. Like
let's talk about that. Cause that's where I'm at, where I'm like, I don't want to commit. My energy's pretty good. This, that. I'm scared of needles, blah, blah,
sure.
blah, blah, blah. But then, a buddy of mine's like, well, you don't have to like commit. Yeah. You could do a cycle every, like 2-3 months. What does a cycle consist of? And what are the benefits? And
so the good thing about testosterone is that you don't have to cycle off if you don't want to. You can just stay on it long term, and then you can come off of it cold turkey or taper down, whatever you prefer. And there's no long-term damage or anything like that going on, like you would have with steroids that you have to cycle. You have to do a post-cycle therapy. Your kidneys are all wrecked. Your liver is wrecked. With testosterone, because it's what we call what scientists call bioidentical, it is the exact molecular compound that your testicles produce already. So your body isn't, getting something that it's unexperienced in how to use and reacts negatively to it. When you come off of it, whether it's 3 months, 6 months to a year, you'll just return to feeling like shit.
Right.
But now you're going to be more aware of how you felt because you now know what it feels like to have your testosterone optimized and feeling good. Now it's like when you're sick, right? When you are no longer sick anymore, like, man, I feel great today because you spent the last week feeling like crap. It's kind of the reverse of that. You're like, man, I feel like crap now because you spent however long feeling great. And now you're back to feeling like crap again. And you got used to feeling like crap. Right. So cycling it is totally fine. We have some guys that do that. A lot of guys, not our patients, I don't think. A lot of our guys, like they'll do testosterone for 3 to 6 months, and they might cycle it with an anabolic, and then come off the testosterone. I don't advise that. I don't advise using anabolic steroids. The risk outweighs the benefits extremely. As far as heart health, early death, things like that. But you could definitely come on if you want to just, I just need a little bit of a boost for 3 months. You could do that. Hey, you know what? My sleep is trash for the next 3 months because of whatever I'm doing, my schedule. We have a lot of cops and things like that too, or firefighters who are they're working shift work. And I'm on nights for the next 6 months. I'm just getting wrecked. And so their testosterone is naturally lower during that time because they're not getting adequate sleep. They can't have an adequate diet. They can't go to the gym because they're working 70 hours a week. This is where the testosterone come in and kind of bridge that gap. And then cool, I'm back on days. I can now go to the gym, eat clean, all that stuff again. I can come off of it. And that's totally fine.
Yeah. What are, so we're not just capping this up to men. What are some benefits? I had a guest recently. She went through a huge transformation. Mm-hmm. She's doing the peptides. She's doing everything. She was talking about it. But what are benefits for women, and what are signs for women to come visit? You guys attend women too, right?
We do. We don't do hormone therapy for women. Right. There's just a lot more that goes into it, especially whether the women's
more complex,
premenopausal, perimenopausal. There's a lot that happens. Yeah. But for women, we do peptides and we do weight loss.
Very nice.
Yeah. And it's same kind of protocols that a man would do, whether it's peptides or weight loss. And when I say weight loss, it's the weight loss medications. Those are also peptides. It's just that people don't think of semaglutide as a peptide anymore. They think of it as, some special drug. Yeah. Even though it's a peptide just like all the others are. But yeah, so we have women who come in. The biggest one they prefer is what's called GHK-Q. It's basically GHK with copper in it. And don't ask me what the GHK stand for. No idea. Invented in Russia. I don't know. It's been 40 years ago. It's safe to use, I swear. Yeah. But they use that with a combination of BPC 157, which is a kind of overall natural healing and anti-inflammation peptide, and actually was originally invented for gut health. And they just kind of saw that when your gut is cleaner, your inflammation is down across your entire body, right? Everything in your GI tract, controls the rest of your body essentially. And then they also stack it with a TB500, and this is more of a specific healing peptide that if you're injecting near a soft tissue injury, it can kind of do a more targeted effect and really generate and speed up the healing. And so when you combine all these three together, you get a really nice anti-aging peptide that's called the Glow Blend is what we call it. And basically you'll see it within a month. We have a 56-year-old patient. She comes in, she shows us a month later when she comes to pick up a second vial, and she had liver spots, really bad liver spots in her hand, all started fading away.
Oh, wow.
Whole face looks like less wrinkles, everything. It's crazy what these things do. And it's all because these peptides just encourage your body to produce more collagen and more anti-aging and just more rejuvenating factors. And so that's a big one that women will do as well. And some women will also do the HGH peptides. We have women who come in back in the gym, right? And they're noticing 45-year-old woman, not gaining muscle. Same thing as a man, not gaining muscle as easy as I thought I would, not losing fat as easy as I thought I would. And then we can stack you with an HGH peptide, and that really speeds all that up.
Yeah. Yeah. What's this? And if you don't know what I'm talking about, it's cool. The blue thing. There's this something blue that people are taking that or they swear by it. It's like a vitamin or something.
I don't know. I don't know the blue thing.
Let's find out.
I was like, well, the GHK is blue from the copper, but
let's find out. Let's see if I can get this to work. Here, we'll make this even fun. Can I sync this? Let's see. Where's the roadcaster? There we go. Boom. All right, let's go to our trusty friend, ChatGPT.
There you go.
right. I'll cut this dead air. There's a blue health thing that people are talking about. They say it's good for their body. You know, do you know what we're talking about, or do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I think I know what you're referring to. There's been a lot of buzz lately about something called blue zones or blue zone habits. Basically, blue zones are these regions around the world.
It's not blue zone. It's like a natural. It's like a natural drug or something that people that are taking, and there's like a huge health benefit.
Ah, got it. In that case, you're probably talking about methylene blue. It's been getting some attention as a kind of supplement or a nootropic. Originally, it's been used in medicine for a long time for other purposes, but now people are exploring it for potential cognitive or cellular benefits. So yeah, that's likely the blue health thing you're hearing about.
Awesome.
Yeah, methylene blue. Yeah, that's becoming, you know, it's one of those peptides that kind of grabs, not even a peptide, but it's one of those things that really kind of grabbed TikTok and just kind of exploded from there.
Everybody's talking about it, but that's the thing. It's like you need to have an expert like you. You need to have friends like you, because there's so much stuff online that doesn't work. Like what's the other one that came out that's like testosterone, but it's called Turkostrogen or something like that? It's like a Turkish one.
I have no idea. I mean, there's a brand called Kaisertrex that does like oral testosterone. Now that actually is testosterone, but like there's a lot of testosterone things out there, and that's one of the things.
Which is another thing I'm going to ask, because I heard that you can't really take it orally.
Right.
Is that true? Or?
So you can. There's one pill out there now called Kaisertrex that is oral testosterone. It completely bypasses your liver, which was the risk previously with oral testosterone, was that it's starting to damage your liver, just like anabolic steroids does. This does not do that. It's not quite as effective as injections or pellets, but it is a really good option for people who are just deathly afraid of needles or having their butt cut open just I don't know, maybe not even a centimeter. Right. Just afraid of blades, needles, and everything like that. That's fine. However, the downside of it is that it's 4 pills a day, and so you really have to be on top of your regimen, because they have a really short half-life, like 6 to 8 hours. So you have to take your 2 pills in the morning, and you want to take your 2 pills later on the afternoon, because your testosterone peaks and troughs throughout the day. Yeah. And so you're kind of taking it when the trough hits, and then you take it again. And then you go to bed as a trough comes again, and you go to sleep. And then your natural testosterone restores itself, and then you kind of aid it again with the pills in the morning. So that's a little bit of a downside. It's like, okay, well, 4 pills a day every day is pretty expensive, and it's more expensive, significantly more expensive than an injection. Yeah. So that's kind of the downside of that. But now the methylene blue, there hasn't been a whole ton of good information out there yet. And like, I always like to look at things like, let me see some peer reviewed like journal studies and things like that. Like we have seen with peptides, right? There are some peptides that we don't offer, and I won't for a while until we know that it's safe. Even some that like, oh yeah, it has a risk of cardiac events. Things like the MK677, I think is what it is. It has a risk of cardiac events. Like, we're not going to offer it. I don't want to offer anything that could possibly kill you. Right. But like NAD+, right? When you're looking at the nootropic benefits, I just steer people towards NAD+. It's incredible. It's one of my favorite peptides. It basically supercharges your mitochondria, which we all know, powerhouse of your cells. Yeah. And this just allows your cells in your overall body to work better and provides you energy. So like you're getting...
Is that the one that also helps you recover like from injury or...
No, that's the BPC 157 and TB 500. Now NAD Plus does have benefits with that, because it just makes your body function better overall, right? And so you have more energy, so it's more for prevention, more cognitive function, I think everything like that. Yeah. So, but people take NAD Plus for a variety of reasons, right? Whether it's like when I started taking it was for cognitive function. Some people take it just for overall longevity purposes. Some people take an NAD plus IV drip the day after heavy drinking, anything kind of like that. So really kind of is like, what are you looking to get out of it? And a lot of the peptides are that way too, where there's a lot of crossover on the benefits of each one.
Do you guys do IVs as well?
We don't do IVs.
Yet.
IVs have a place. IVs definitely have a place. It's just not kind of in our business model. And honestly, like, and I'm sorry for the IV guys out there, and do it if it works for you. I don't care. That's great. Whatever works for you. But if you come to us and you said you want an IV drip, I'm going to hand you a Gatorade, and I'm going to hand you a vitamin injection. It's the exact same thing.
Right.
If you go and get a B12 IV drip, right, it's 1,000 cc of, 1,000 milligrams of vitamin B12, the same exact amount that we give when we give you a vitamin B12 injection. Same thing with the NAD plus, right? It's the exact same amount that we give you when we do an NAD plus injection. You're just not getting all the extra fluid and saline solution that you get from an IV drip. So cool. Here's your Gatorade for your electrolyte hit. Here's your vitamin. I just saved you $400.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, when somebody goes and sees you, and we'll wrap it up close. We're already at an hour. When somebody goes and sees you, and by the way, I'm going to want you to come back again, so I can pick your brains with new questions and everything else. But so basically, somebody would go to you. They would. What's the process? I check in.
Yeah.
Let's just say I go to you and I tell you, look, man, I'm in the best shape of my life.
Right.
I'm active as hell. I eat super clean.
Right.
I can't get rid of my fucking gut.
Right.
This motherfucker will not budge. I get on my little bullshit scale that I got on Amazon, and it says I'm close to obese, and my what is it? Viscular fat.
Yeah. You're. Oh God.
Yeah, I'm the chin.
I literally say it all the time. Visceral fat. Yeah.
My visceral fat's like really high, which
Right.
is all the fat around your organs,
Right.
which is weird, but I'm stubborn. Help me.
Sure.
What is the process at your clinic, at your shop, at your area, at your man cave?
So first, to address the scale, right? All the scales like that, when they send the electronic pulse through your body, it's all based on algorithms. So it's not exact, right? You're anywhere between 10% to 30% off on any of these, kind of Amazon scales and stuff like that. So don't stress about it too much. But basically, what you would do. You would ideally book an appointment. We do take walk-ins, but appointments are preferred. Just kind of like anything other service.
They would call in.
You can book online as well. Yep, and then website is GamedayMen'sHealth.com/North Hollywood. You can also find us on Instagram and TikTok at Gameday_NOHO. And typically you'll always be talking to me directly. If I'm out on vacation or anything like that.
And he responds quick.
I am on it. I am on it. It's a business, man. You live or die.
Some people just don't respond.
I know, and they're struggling.
Yeah.
But you book your appointment, you come on in, there's some intake forms you got to fill out. Like, this is a medical clinic, right? Despite the aesthetics and despite, it kind of given the good vibes and stuff like that and your sports and everything, like, it is still a legitimate medical clinic, right? So there's still legitimate things that we do. So you still do your intake forms. You're going to share your brief medical history on the forms. If you're coming in for the testosterone consultation, specifically, you're also going to share what's called a SHIM. It's a sexual health in men kind of score. And so that'll determine kind of a little bit more of where your testosterone deficiency might lie, but also if you are having any erectile dysfunction issues that might be related to testosterone or something else. But this gives the provider a full snapshot, right? Then you're going to have your blood drawn, right? Just super easy, 5-10 minute blood draw. They're going to check your vitals, and then we're going to spin down your blood in the clinic.
When you do the blood draw, do you get the results instantly that same day, or
you do? Yep. So we are fully certified and accredited in the state and federally accredited lab clinic, so we can use our results and treat you the exact same day. So you'll get your testosterone result within about 20 minutes, and then you'll get with our provider. She'll share the results with you, and then she'll go over, and we'll give you results too, so you can take home with you. And then she'll kind of go over a game plan. She's going to dig into your medical history, what brought you in, like where were you at 10 years ago? Where do you want to be 10 years from now? Like what are your symptoms? Like you're having trouble losing some fat or whatever. Like she kind of dives into all that for you, and you and her go back and forth on establishing a plan that works for you. So it's not the same for every man, right? Our dosing is all over the place for every guy, right? A lot of the online pharmacies, when you get your testosterone from them, like you don't check in with anybody. There's no labs actually being done. And there's like, here's your testosterone. And it's almost always 200 milligrams, right? That's almost always too high for most men to start at, which will lead to side effects like gynecomastia. So bitch tits.
Oh, got it.
So you don't want those. Or you end up having.
So with the wrong dosage, you can get bitch tits.
With the wrong dosage, you can get, it's called gynecomastia, basically, where you get man boobs, right? Every anabolic user has them, right? And that's why they always get them cut out, right? Because there's no way of avoiding when you're doing anabolics, really. And then if you're taking too high testosterone, you can get them as well. Because what's happening is your body has such an excess of testosterone, it is converting it into estrogen.
Right.
And that leads to breast growth.
Got it. That's where it converts into estrogen.
Right. Yeah. And it's called estradiol, right? And that can also lead to symptoms of low testosterone because you're just having too much, essentially. And so now maybe you are a little crabbier. Maybe you are having bad sleep again. Maybe you are struggling in the gym because you're just exhausted. And a lot of times it could be your estradiol is too high. Yeah. And so we would dial that in and either bring your dose down if that's the case, or there's a pill called anastrozole that we can give you like a quarter of, or there's certain plans for everything, right? The biggest thing you can do to manage your estradiol level, if you are dosing yourself too high, eat some broccoli. You can buy pills on Amazon called DIM, D-I-M, and it's basically just ground up broccoli. That brings your estrogen levels down naturally.
Right.
So, but again, a lot of guys don't want to do that. They just want to pop the pill.
Yeah.
So, that's 2025. That's the world we're in today. But and then you walk out of there with a game plan. And whether you want to get started that day, you want to think about it, you want to talk to your partner about it, all that's fine. Again, there's no pressure. I will call you to check in on you and see how everything's going, what other questions you might have. But again, it's not a sales pitch. I don't feel like I need to sell it. You came in with a problem already. We're here to address it. We gave you your solutions. What do you want to do? It's up to you. You're the man. What do you want to do?
Right.
Yeah. And so I love it when guys are like, oh, I got to go home and I got to talk to my wife. I'm like, yeah, sounds pretty low T of you.
Yeah.
Like, you're a man. Like you're a man. Like be a man, make the decision.
Yeah.
That's what your wife has been asking you to do the whole time. You came in here probably because she was like, you have issues.
Right.
Or you're not, we're not sexually active anymore because
and we're not bullying. We're just
no.
We're calling it out. It's just so people are clear on that.
Yeah, never bullying. A lot of it's just kind of busting balls too and stuff like that. But it's like, look, like I
do believe in fat shaming sometimes. Like sometimes you got to do it.
And it's a culture that I have from the military where it's like, you just call it out as it is.
Right.
And it's just, and again, it's nothing to shame somebody or make fun of them, right? Like I'm not 17 years old trying to pick on you. I'm genuinely doing it because I want to help you. And and a lot of them, like their spouse tells them to get checked out and they come in, they don't get ready, they go home, and we never hear from them again. And it's like, what else do you want us to do, right? Like you have to be the man and take that step. We can't force you to do it, right? Your wife isn't going to force you to do it.
Of course.
But
and here's the pitch. I got a couple buddies in their 50s and 60s that do the TRT.
Yeah.
Their feedback, boners all the time.
Yeah.
Boners all the time. Just random boners, morning boners, night boners all the time.
Libido is back, right? Even if you didn't have an issue with libido, because a lot of, especially younger guys, right, mid 30s, but they're on TRT, maybe libido is not taking quite a hit, it still goes up, right? It's not like you're 15 to where you can't control it, right? And you're just like, oh crap, there's a stiff breeze, right?
The teacher calls your name.
Exactly. Like, I'm sorry. Give me a minute, right? But like it's, but like you have the libido, but you're an adult to where you're like, okay, there's an appropriate time to use it, right? Obviously,
right.
So yeah, it's just an overall game changer. If you're having libido issues, if you're having mental fatigue issues, unexplained fatigue. If you're having unexplained weight gain, you can't lose your middle gut despite you doing everything you're supposed to be doing. Get your testosterone checked out. Either come into Gameday Men's Health North Hollywood, Gameday _NOHO, or go somewhere else. Like I genuinely don't care. I want you to come to see us because we are the best clinic in the valley, but I want you to get help.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah,
thank
of course.
You.
Thanks for having me.
We'll talk some more after this, but thank you. I'll get you back on. I'll get some more questions. I'll do my research and very curious.
Yeah.
And I'll stop by the place and check it out.
Yeah. Hit me up at anytime, man.
Appreciate it.
All right, brother.